Hello, everyone, and welcome to our latest episode of Football is Life. Here we go. Waleed, Pat, lovely to see you. It feels like it's too long. I feel we need to do these more regularly, right? Because I kind of, that's it. I kind of miss it. I'm just so excited
Absolutely.
for the next one. But yeah, I guess it's kind of like, yeah, thanks, Pat. I think it's almost like like Netflix has changed the way that we just binge things. That kind of binge culture, and when something you can't binge, you kind of appreciate it more. So I think we're doing the right thing here. So I'm always gonna turn up excited and don't take it for granted. But anyway, juicy as always. There'll be lots of debate and opinion, and we're gonna start off, I think, with a title race, right? That's been an interesting twist and turn since we last spoke. There's been some managerial changes. Yeah, Watford in that, it's very unlike them, very strange. So yeah, we'll have to cover that one. Some transfer activity. I mean, we are a matter a couple of days away from the end of the window, but there's, as usual in January, that's when things just start to spice up a little bit. So we'll cover off that, and then we'll have a little look forward to the second half of the season as well, and see what we think. Some predictions. We'll have a look at the bottom of the table where things have got a little bit interesting as well with some recent results. So let's start with the title race, and I think it's Waleed. It's got to be with you, right? So Man City still happy, sitting very, very pretty at the top of the table. Your nemesis, and this is, I'm starting to realize, Pat, remember what, Waleed just has got this hatred for Southampton that's completely irrational. Then exactly. I realized City just don't really beat Southampton, so that's obviously why he hates them so much. So the Waleed, is this the start of a wobble, or what do you think?
This isn't the start of a wobble. I feel like, given that this is the first time since October that we've dropped points, it's a pretty decent run. It's a pretty decent run for us to have gotten through all of those games without having dropped any points until Southampton. And Southampton, to be fair, I think I read that they had like 3 chances and they put one of those away. That's good going. Like, that's fair enough. But we had this with Sunderland. Sunderland would always be the team when they were in the league. They'd beat us 1-0. Like, no matter what we did, no matter what we tried, they'd always have one break. I think one time it was Fabio Barini, of all people, who managed to sink one and break the hearts of like so many people, and it was just annoying. But I feel like, yeah, they're a bit of our bogey team. I feel like we can't really predict a result against them and Crystal Palace. Like, Palace always tend to get some kind of result against us, which is a bit frustrating. But if you know how to pick the weaknesses in City, you got to give credit there, because that is a very hard thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do. And yeah, I guess in terms of a title race, from my perspective anyway, I mean, Liverpool are 9 points off, but they do have a game in hand, which I expect that they'll win. They've got Salah and Mane coming back, maybe even Alisson, unless he gets arrested for all the red cards that he keeps getting in international matches. So I feel like it's going to be a close one. I don't think that the title race is finished just yet. We've just opened the door a little bit more for Liverpool. I mean, Chelsea still have no chance. But I feel like if there's a team that can try to drive City right until the end, it is Liverpool. But they do have to play perfectly.
Okay, that's interesting. So you're not concerned about the wobble. I did love the standard Pep. Before the game, basically saying James Ward-Prowse is essentially the best player in the world. Just getting his excuses in early, Pat. He knew, it was like the last game against Southampton. Remember, all the excuses came in early, trying to beg the fans to come in and help them, because he just doesn't know how to beat them. And then after the game, he was basically saying this was the best performance of the season from us. This was unbelievable. And you're going, like, I watched the game. You're like, Pep, really? Was it really? Was it though? Was it, Pep? So you just love to see Pep under a bit of scrutiny, because he's just not used to it and just squirming away and trying to slither out of any sort of criticism. But no, I mean, they did hang on a bit. So they were really good in the first half, and then it was one-way traffic, as you would expect. But yeah, so I think it's, for me, Liverpool, we've managed to somehow, with some help from controversial decisions. We had a penalty that was never a penalty, in my opinion. Even though we were winning the game, we probably would have seen it out. But I just don't like to see those. It was just a terrible decision. Like, just one of those. I don't think I've not heard anyone, even Liverpool fans, saying that was it just wasn't a penalty. But we've managed to somehow get through it and get the points, and we get our weapons back. And then we'll come to the rumors of the transfer market. If we make this juicy move and absolutely take a swipe away from Spurs, you'd love to see that, Pat, right? Just love to see us swooping in and saying, hey, because I remember a time when it was the opposite, right? This is before obviously Jurgen's reign at Liverpool. We were in this, and it was Gylfi Sigurdsson was one. You remember this, where it was like we were in for him, and he was like, "No, I'm going to go to Tottenham." So Tottenham at that time were just a more attractive place than Liverpool. And my, how those tables have turned now. So let's see how that one works out. But yeah, I think look, City they're gonna have a wobble at some point, but can Liverpool, just as you say, keep up the pace? So when they do wobble, we can capitalize. Yeah, Pat, what's your take on it? The title race now. Chelsea, by the way, Pat, you've got to cover Chelsea as well. Come on.
Well, Chelsea, they don't look all that great right now, unless they're playing Tottenham, in which case they look like they couldn't ever be beaten. Right, we lost 4 in a row to them in really short succession. So that's been kind of brutal for me to watch. But I would say, like we're saying, wobble. Is that a wobble? 11 in a row, and then finally you have a draw, and then sky is falling. I don't think it's much of a wobble. I mean, my hope is that we have something fun to watch in the back half of the year, and there is such a thing as a real wobble for them. But at the rate things are going, it just looks like it's going to be so difficult. I know I was hearing our last podcast saying it's never over. I'm sure it's not over, but I'd have to see a few things in a row, a couple actual losses, and actually conceding more than 1 goal. It's 1 or 0 every time you play against them, right? So I think, it's Liverpool's great. I think they're a terrific team, but right now City just looks so good.
It's okay, Pat. We know, Pat, you're a Liverpool sympathizer. I can smell a sympathizer. Right? I can smell it. He doesn't like, and I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. On the Chelsea one, actually, Gabe, who works with us, he's a big Chelsea fan, and he was worried about, or no, was it him or was my brother? Maybe it was my brother. He was talking about, maybe both of them, worried about the cup game, and I did say that. I said Chelsea is Spurs are a good matchup for Chelsea. I said that. I just said, look, the way that Chelsea play, like, because they're a bit more conservative and way too cool. I said it just, like, Spurs just find that difficult. Spurs would rather play City or Liverpool, who are going to just go for it because they and also I think Son was out, which I think does take a massive dimension away from Tottenham. I think he's their best player. I honestly think
you're not going to beat a team of Chelsea's quality or even have a chance to do so without having Son in the lineup. It's great to see Kane starting to wake up and all, but like I think without Son they just couldn't do it. So Chelsea's they're still a terrific team. They still got, kind of the talent and quality that puts them in the conversation near the top. They can't do it. I think the only team that really has a chance to do it, if there actually is a real wobble lead, would be Liverpool. And I would love to see it to come down to the end. I'd like to see it close to the end, where right now it doesn't really feel that's going to be the case. But I'd love to see if we get a little close kind of excitement towards the end of the year.
I don't know. I mean, I still remember very fondly the season where City finished in 99 points and Liverpool finished in 98, and that was quite close to too close to comfort. Like, I love a nail biter, but even I have my limits.
Can I put something out there? I'm going to put something out there now, right? Okay, so sometimes we as sports fans get very superstitious about things, and we have all these kind of these quirky things we believe in. Who does City play in the last game of the season? Does anyone know? Don't look.
I think it's Villa.
Aston Villa. Who manages Aston Villa?
Stop it.
Like Stevie. So what as Liverpool fans are dreaming of, last game of the season, even we're still behind, we need Villa to do a job. 98 minutes. Coutinho! There you go. So the fairy tale is written already, right? Could it happen? Let's see what happens.
That's if we finish matches, like the fixture list, because I feel like they're changing those rules as well, and we've got such a congested fixture list at the moment. Like, a lot of teams have missed a lot of matches. Like, I think someone may have coughed outside the ground of Anfield one time, and they postponed like 5 matches for it. So I imagine that it's gonna get busy this half of the year, and I fear for teams like Spurs, Arsenal, Liverpool have had quite a number of matches cancelled. I
would just listen. My view on this is, like, I think you've probably just got to play. I know they said now it's 4 cases or 4 COVID cases. Anytime you publish and say, right, this is the rules, it's like everything. Teams will find a way to take advantage, that will do what's best for them. So I think I don't know how they're policing it and all that kind of stuff. I think the problem at the beginning was it was like Man United were getting games called off and then other teams weren't. So people started saying, wait a minute, why do they get it and we don't? And, that's where it sparked from, where they felt they had to be transparent. But then they were like, I don't know. I almost feel like there's going to come a point now where you're just like, you just got to play the games. Like, you're going to run out of time. So you just need to say, look, folks, regardless, you've got to play the game. Yeah, which is not great, because I don't love the fact they're changing it, because then there isn't parity where teams at certain times are able to cancel games. Now teams aren't. So I think it's been a bit of a mess, to be honest. I think, I really do. I think you've just got to say, look, folks, you can play your youth players, you get on with it, and away we go. But it's difficult to understand that the broadcasters want, they want to see the top players playing, right? So do they say we want money back because it's not the same product? It's complex. But anyway, let's hope, fingers crossed, where, as we get into the spring, things normalize a little bit.
It'll happen. These games are absolutely going to happen. I think that there's no way that Spurs are going to allow like the cancellation of the away match against Burnley. Like, we have to have that game. We got to have the Brighton game. We got to have the Arsenal game at home. All those that's 9 points right there, as far as I'm concerned. So we need to have those games happen. We absolutely must have them happen. And I really do think that by the time we get done, 19 of the teams will have played 38 games, and Arsenal will have played 34 or whatever. But like, we'll get mostly done.
Listen, Pat.
No, go on, Ross. Go.
I was going to say, Pat, on those games in hand. So you look. I was looking at the table, right? If Spurs win all their games in hand, they would go above Chelsea, I believe, like a point. So like this, I have to give it to you, Pat. I know we joked at the beginning of this Chelsea slide is real, and you, my friend, you saw, everyone else was like, including myself, I was like, there's no way I can see this. And I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but now you're looking at it, and United are finding a way to win. Spurs have got the game in hand. Arsenal they're Arsenal, right?
But they're playing better.
They can do it. But they've put some form together, and you're looking at it going, I'm not saying fifth, but I think fourth, fourth could be a real thing. Maybe fifth. It's going to be, listen, I really want to see Chelsea get really pulled into that tussle there. Would love to see that. And what a prediction that would be if that comes to fruition. Unbelievable stuff.
But this is all based on the logic that Conte is still at Spurs after this transfer window.
Of course he'll be. Of course he'll be.
He is not a happy bunny.
Come on, mate. This is all. Look, this is my take in this. This is Pat. You don't need to worry. You know this, Pat. You're a sensible guy. Walid is just trying to. You know what he's trying to do here. Every time Conte they get a bad result, they ask him about this, because he's been open about the quality of the squad. I just think I don't ever think he was promised anything in January, because it's just a tough. I don't think you can. It's too difficult a window, right? He's going to want particular players. I think the summer is the defining transfer window for him, and I think he said it's probably going to take a couple of big transfer windows to get them to where he wants them to be. But yeah, I think he's bought in, and I think he'll be backed in the summer. I think you'll see a lot of activity in the summer at Tottenham. I think players getting moved on, and some new faces coming in. Pat, what do you think?
Look, I hope you're right. I really do see a pretty major difference in the team with Conte at the helm. Like, I think that it's obvious that there's a ton more movement on the pitch. It's obvious that Kane is playing better and kind of more interested and might actually want to stay with the team longer term. But we're going to have to go away from being interested FC, which is Walid's name for Spurs, and actually close some of these people. Like, I think we were talking about Vlahovic, and it got everybody excited, and now he's gone. And we were talking about Traore, and we thought there was a good chance there. Now he's gone. There's a couple others who are kind of in the market for still, like Diaz might end up showing up, and we'll see how that all turns out. But I do think we're going to have to pull the trigger on some moves.
Oh, Pat, you know what? You have to file the Vlahovic transfer saga with the Arsenal and Spurs fans getting so giddy, and then him going, "See, I'm off to Juventus." You love to see it. You just have to say it. Willie, you have to say that is something. File that in the "you love to see" folder. Absolutely great stuff. And by the way, best thing about Antonio Conte, the greatest hair transplant of all time, easily. Like, if you look at him pre hair transplant, I don't know where I feel like people were sacrificed for his new hair. Absolutely. I mean, Waleed, he's up there with, in your territory there. Like, what a transformation. So he gives us all hope. Yeah. So
right.
Let's not go too far. That might be going too far.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, I want to err on the side of optimism, but I also know that Conte is one of the best managers in the world, so he could walk into pretty much any team if they really wanted or get something lined up. He is a bit of a diva, and he very much it's very much like a rock and a hard place. Like, he's probably one of the most vocal managers when it comes to transfers versus the most belligerent transfer person. Like I remember an article saying like taking words from the City COO when they were trying to get Kyle Walker, and he said it was like pissing blood, like trying to deal with Levy. So I can only imagine that that is both a great thing for Spurs, so they don't get taken for a ride, but at the same time, it's hell for Conte, who wants at least one person in. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one. I hope that he stays, because then it'll make Pat happy, and that's really where my Spurs investment lies. But at the same time, I do want to see Levy burn.
Yeah. Well, let's see. That's going to be interesting. Let's move on to the other end of the table. So I think we can cover two topics in one, because I think the relegation battle has got super interesting. Delighted for Norwich fans. They got a result looking like I think like of all the teams, they look the most collectively together, but just have been struggling for a bit of quality. Watford again. Let's get that filing cabinet's getting bigger of things you love to see. Watford getting absolutely steamrolled by Norwich, and then Ranieri getting the punt when everyone knew it was the wrong appointment. So they are back in the market for a new manager. Everton fans, I mean, who thought we'd be talking about you in a relegation battle? I don't think you've ever been relegated from the Premier League, which is like something you're super proud of. But now all of a sudden, you're in the mixer there. So what's our take? I mean, there's two topics. One, like the battle down there has got more interesting. Newcastle got an important win, and yeah, the managerial changes. So yeah, who wants to go first on that?
Well, I think that the Norwich kind of that big win that they had against Watford was pretty. I don't know, it was pretty important, and you've seen a lot of kind of movement at the bottom of the table, and teams doing well, kind of pulling out the some big wins in places where you didn't think that they would. Southampton coming up with a point there against Man City. There's a lot happening down there that's more exciting than it was. I think Norwich is actually a pretty good team. I don't think they're nearly as bad as they look or have looked in some of their results, and so it doesn't surprise me to see that they might start to have a little momentum. But it's fun. It's fun. It's good to have something to watch in case City run away with the top of the table. We'll actually have some fun watching what happens at the bottom.
Absolutely. Waleed, what are you thinking?
I find it fascinating that Burnley have acted in the way that they have. And it's great to see Newcastle finally getting some momentum, like 2 wins now recently, which is great to see. And also their transfers, they're getting savvy with their transfers. They may not get Lingard, but that may not be the worst thing in the world. I mean, they've gotten Trippier, they've gotten Chris Wood. They might be getting, who is it? Bruno Guimaraes, I think his name is. Like, he's a really solid playmaker from Lyon. I think that they're doing some pretty savvy business. I don't think that they're going to let themselves get taken for a ride, which is probably one of the biggest stakes in the ground that they had to have after that huge transfer. But I mean, I feel like Norwich could survive and Everton could slip, because Everton are just a mess. Decore is out as well for like another 4 weeks, which is going to be hell for them, because he is, if there was anyone who's made a huge impact on that team this season, it's him and Demarai Gray. Like, they have been dragging that team through to results, and he is the spine of that team. So I agree, Ross. I think they could get relegated.
Yeah, Everton, I mean, Calvert-Lewin has come back. I mean, I know he's out for a while, but I expected the uptick, and I think Benitez had said that, and I think I don't know, I've got kind of mixed emotions. Obviously, as a Liverpool fan, I have emotional ties to Rafa. He loves the city, and I just wonder if, to your point, Willie, it's one of those situations where you look at the team. There's just something I don't know, that the managerial merry-go-round, it's like Watford, they just look dysfunctional. Whereas, like, you look at Norwich and Newcastle, there's a bit more of a togetherness. Like Howe has brought, I think, Newcastle. And even before that, I did feel there was enough there. You look at those teams, and I think Burnley have that. They, Dyche will always have them pulling in the same direction. So you're looking at, Watford and Everton. You're going, look, and I feel like a manager with Rafa's experience, I would bet on that rather than they're talking about. I mean, there's this ex-Porto manager who then did an interview with Sky. It's just all a mess. And then all the Everton fans are basically saying they don't want this guy. They don't really know much about him, and they want Lampard. And I'm just going, like, did you see the Ole show at Man United? I mean, it's like, be careful what you're asking. It's almost like, it's the only conclusion I can draw is that the guy who's pumping all the money into Everton must be a Liverpool fan. He's just like, let's just buy all these. He must be. It's it's really, really bizarre. And you look at them, and like Richarlison, I forget he's playing for them, and you're going like, there's talk of him going to PSG, and you're going like, I don't know what's going on there. Like they have a good, like when they've got all their players fit, their starting 11 or the first 14 are pretty good. So I just, yeah, it's really what I think this appointment is going to be so critical. If this isn't somebody that can come in and have an immediate impact, momentum is a big thing, and they are just, my goodness, like, I mean, that's concerning. Yeah, Watford, I just don't see them surviving. I think Burnley, this could be the year, which again, I would love to see it. Wouldn't miss seeing them, to be honest. They've run they're a bit like Stoke, ran their course. You know, they were interesting, compelling for a while, but yeah, it's hard to call though between the rest. Though I think Norwich, I would probably say are favourite just based on squad strength. But you're looking at Norwich, Newcastle, Everton. You're going, I fancy Newcastle. I don't know, like there's something signings and how there's enough there that I think they'll probably manage a way out of it. But it's my goodness, what a tussle. I think that's going to be the most compelling thing about this league this year, is going to be that. And I do think the top four is going to be like Man United, Arsenal, Spurs, Wolves have got themselves in the picture now. You know, like, you know, if Leicester put a run together, they maybe could get back in the mix. But yeah,
West Ham's still there. They've had a little struggle.
Oh.
There's a wobble for sure with West Ham, but that's a team that can absolutely do it.
You're right. I forgot about West Ham. Apologies, West Ham fans, and David Moyes, good Scottish lad. Yeah, they've had a wee bit of a wobble, which everyone kind of expected, but nobody's. I don't see anyone in that pulling away there. I think that's just going to be this pack of teams that just stay, which is going to make it super, super interesting, especially when you play each other, right? That means those games become like magnified. So, yeah, let's see what happens. It's really interesting.
Who's your predictions? What are your predictions for the bottom three? Give me your bottom three teams.
Burnley, Watford, Norwich.
In that order?
Yes.
When you say that order, we're going from bottom to top, like worst to
bottom to top. Yeah. I mean, I might switch Watford and Norwich, maybe. Like, it depends. It's hard until you see who Watford, you know, what they're doing. But yeah, I think that's my three.
Pat, what about you?
Watford, Burnley. I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna say Everton's they're gonna be in the bottom three.
Oh wow! Imagine Everton relegated, and then Stevie G wins as the league. Like, just Liverpool fans. We can only dream, right? We can only dream, but we should.
I reckon Watford bottom, Norwich, and then Burnley. No, Burnley and then Norwich. I want to see Everton in there instead of Norwich, but I think that sheer quality of some players, like some pieces of individual brilliance from Calvert-Lewin and Damari Gray, will pull them out. But I can't see Watford doing anything. Burnley, yeah, you're right. There's been no investment. I mean, they're trying to buy this 8-foot mountain of a man in Weghorst, but I mean, and that plays to Dyche's style of hoof it. But it's not going to be enough, is it? They've just sold themselves into relegation.
I think you're right. I think they're in big trouble. Yeah, you didn't mention Southampton, which is strange. I thought you'd have them bottom. But that's right. They get up points against City, don't they? Yeah, they just love. Can they play you every week? You just love to see that as well. Right, good. Well, let's move on to transfers. So, there's one that dropped. Well, it'd been rumored earlier, and it seems now it's come through in more official channels. Liverpool and Tottenham for the winger from Porto, Diaz. Looks a really, like, when we were talking about him earlier, because we saw him in the Champions League, you know, because we had them. So, yeah, I was excited. I was hoping they were getting him in, you know, for the deliberately in time for Salah and Mane and Salah not being here. But yeah, it looks like not to say it's done, but a deal may be done one way or the other for one of those teams. Yeah, what's our take on that? I mean, Waleed, if Liverpool make a signing like that, does that make you a bit more twitchy about the title race?
No, not by any means. Like, I think that regardless of, because he's a right winger, he'd be there subbing for Salah, right? Or
he can play either side. He can play either side. Yeah, we'd only sign a guy like that that's a bit, you know, has that versatility. But yeah, you can do.
I mean that it's good to have that depth. I mean, we just assume that Salah and Mane are going to play every single game. So if they get subbed off and someone who is still good, but maybe not up to their quality, even in the dying minutes, because like Salah and Mane go for the full 90, like you don't think, oh, getting a bit leggy there, getting a bit tired. So it's a good signing for Liverpool. I'm happy for Liverpool because they do need that depth, and it makes it a bit more interesting. But doesn't really impact the title race for me. I mean, Jota had a huge impact, but he did also play in the Premier League for a while before that with Wolves, so he was sort of used to it. But yeah, I mean, I think that he's gonna go to Liverpool. There's no
what?
No, he's not.
Pat's like Pat. Okay, Pat.
Let's not call it a good signing yet.
No. Listen, they're not there yet, Pat. So here we go, Pat. So aside from Antonio Conte's hair, I want you to give us the pitch, right? So if I'm Diaz, you're Conte or Levy or whoever it is at Spurs that's dealing with this. Give me the pitch of why I should go to Tottenham ahead of Liverpool.
Because the team's making the investment to get to top 4, top 3, top 2, top 1, and you get a chance to play with Son and Kane. Like you're gonna be in a line that's gonna be fantastic to play with, and I think that's where you want to be. And look, I didn't hear about the Liverpool side of this until just this morning, just now. So I got everything I've been reading and worrying about is that Tottenham are trying to get the right price, and they're being told no, it needs to be a little bit more. And so I feel like I'm seeing a repeat of what I just watched with Ferrari, in the last few days, which is like kind of get the price down as low as you can, and then somebody else comes in and actually makes the deal. Same thing with Vlahovic. That shouldn't have really happened that way. I think we had our eye on them and had a good chance to do it, and then just all of a sudden, no, not happening. So I'm gonna shed some tears if we lose this guy to Liverpool. I'm not gonna like it at all. I hope this is fake news that you guys are giving me.
Listen,
I'm holding out hope.
Pat, you know what? First of all, your pitch was shocking. So there you go. Absolutely. Absolutely.
What was I going to do? Say Eric Dyer?
No. It's easy. Pat. All you do is go look at the stadium, the shiny stadium. Look, shiny new stadium. We can do fireworks and look at the changing room. Look at you're going to have a foot massager before the game. I don't know, whatever they've got in there. But anyway, no, that
the chicken and the logo is pretty. The rooster. That's not bad too, right? That's a part of it, maybe.
Logo. Look at the strip. Look at they should have done that. Yeah. So I
feel like the best pitch you could have done is you're not going to have any competition. You're going to walk into
you'll play every week. You'll play every week, but you'll probably be playing centre half because we're so bad. But anyway, no. But on that, I like that insight into teams' transfer strategy is put Daniel Levy, who's notoriously tough negotiator, get him to negotiate the price down, and then come in and just pay like a little bit more. I would love that to be the case. But look, Spurs fans, if Liverpool do take him, you never know. We might toss you Divock Origi. We might just say, there you go, folks. You can have a bit of that. And listen, say what you want about Divock. He is good value. He's good fun. He will give you some drama. So I don't know. I think I wouldn't be surprised if somebody moves on if Liverpool sign him. I just feel our model is I'd be surprised if we signed him and didn't move anyone. So there could be some interest. Yeah, I don't know where that might be, but you never know. Maybe there'll be
Maybe Ox would leave. I don't know. I feel like
I don't think Ox is that in demand. I think Taki or Divock it'd be one. And I think Divock is more likely because he's got that, like he's got all the attributes, and he's one of those guys you could take a punt because he's never had a run with us because we're for obvious reasons of who's playing ahead of him. But he's one of those people, like if he was playing every week, like he does have if you talk about a Premier League style player, he's got the frame, he's athletic, he's quick, he has scored massively important goals, so he can do it in the clutch moments. So it's I think he's one that I would like for his own sake, as much as we love him, to go because I feel like he'll end up wasting his career maybe, and you never know, maybe he could be an elite player. Well, I say elite, I know he's not, but he could be an important player for a team. We'll see what happens. What else on the transfer front? Well, you like you've got something on your mind. Man City.
Well, so, I kind of want it because the thing is that Arsenal are going to try and get a midfielder from somewhere, but at the same time, they're not desperate for it. They just need to make sure that they have someone in case Xhaka gets another red card. It's more so a case of I kind of do want to pick Pat's brains about who do you think is a realistic target that will come in for the next 3 days, who you'd prioritize above everyone else, like what Spurs absolutely need.
They need to get Diaz. Liverpool can't get that guy. I'm telling you, they better not. If it works out this way, where they put their eye on 4 different people and they get none of them, and all they get out of the transfer window is the ability to pay part of Ndombele's contract while he's playing at PSG, and kind of ship Ali out for nothing, for just a loan, and that's all they get out of it. They get nothing. They just ship some people out. I wouldn't want to actually be in that stadium for Levy. He's going to hear a lot of very, very negative sentiment from the fans. So I think they better do something. I've still got my sights on Diaz. That's the person we got to get.
I think he'd be a great addition. I think you are sort of lacking on the goals front a little bit. He would be probably playing a bit sort of a more defensive role as well, like slightly defensive. So I wonder if that's also something that plays on his mind, because I think Traore said he didn't want to go to Spurs because he wasn't keen on being a right back.
Didn't want to be a wing back. Yeah.
So
he didn't want to be the new Victor Moses. Yeah. Didn't want to be the new Victor Moses. That was Traore. And fair play, because who does? I don't think anyone wants to be the new Victor Moses. So are City not in for the River Plate forward? Is that the young River Plate forward I read? Yeah.
I think they are. I think they're getting him for like 17 million, but he's going to be one of those like Gabriel Jesus kind of characters, because we bought Gabriel Jesus in the January window, I think, as well, for like 20 million or something. And we let him stay and play the rest of his season. And I think that we might do that. He's dubbed the next Aguero in terms of his style of play and sort of fox in the box like approach, which is quite nice. And he's quite young. He's 21. I know we have depth, but he's also trying to keep the squad quite lean. So he has loaned out a few people as well, which is quite good. So it's not like we're just going to be thickening the squad. But I think the thing that I'm actually quite interested about, is seeing how Villa will get these transfers through without violating some sort of FFP. There's got to be something going on.
Is there some irony from a Man City fan? Like just a touch of irony there? Like, I mean, come on, mate, come on. We can't be saying this.
We've sold people. We have sold people. We have sold a lot of people now.
No,
like we sold Sané for 50. We sold Sané for 50. We've got Torres as well. We sold Torres for quite a while. We've also become a more profitable club than Manchester United for the first time in forever. So we've got another one over United there. So we're trying to balance the books a bit more.
Villa look like a bit of a formidable side, don't they? With Coutinho in there, it's a pretty tough team.
Yeah, they signed Chambers. You see that? That was a shock signing. Callum Chambers out of nowhere.
Why?
What was that about?
I don't get that. I get Digne because I feel like he's a really good player, and you saw the impact he had by getting that assist at Everton. You love to see that. But it's very much a case of what was the gap that I guess maybe the only reason that they'd want to sign Chambers is if Arsenal end up buying Douglas Luiz. Like that's probably the only thing that I can really add up there. So if Douglas Luiz goes, then they're missing that sort of more defensive midfield hold, and Chambers can play there. You don't want him to, but he can.
He's flexible, and I think obviously Stevie coming in, there's been some promises made. Listen, I mean, if you're a Villa fan, you got to be excited. Coutinho, gives. I mean, Buendia actually is hitting form as well. They've got a really nice problem there, and adding in Chambers, I think I think Chambers has had a number of like really strong performances for Arsenal. And he's a utility guy that will fill in, like you say, he can fill in right back, centre half, holding midfield if he has to. So makes sense. It was just a bizarre, like out of nowhere, out of left field. It was just like all of a sudden it was announced. No River, just like boom. So yeah, I mean, Arsenal obviously happy to move him on. Arsenal fans may be hoping that's going to be reinvested somewhere. So let's keep an eye on that one. Okay, well, let's move on to a final section. So let's just look forward to our predictions for the second half of the season. So Waleed, what are you going to call? What are you seeing happening over the next few months?
I'm going to see over the course of the next few months. I mean, it's interesting to see Roy Hodgson there at Watford. I don't know why. To be fair, he is good at making them more defensive and stop leaking goals. Like you saw that at Palace. They went very, very counter-attacking. They even got a few results against some big teams, which is good. But I don't think that's going to be enough. And I can see Watford being relegated in March. Like that'll be it. Like they've got some horrible fixtures coming up as well. So I don't think it's going to be a kind spring winter for them. I'm very excited for the fourth place playoff. Like I don't know where that's going to go. I kind of want to see Spurs in there. Also kind of want to see Arsenal just because then they can just both spit at each other, and then Liverpool and City and Chelsea can watch from the rafters. That'd be quite fun. Yeah, I can't see United doing that well. I feel like there's too much that Ranić has to do in terms of a clear out for them to sustain a set of results to get to the top four. But my prediction's still Arsenal, maybe Spurs in fourth place, and the top three staying as it is.
Okay, Pat.
I'd love to see it. I think it'd be great if we saw Spurs, kind of get there. Of course, I don't agree with you with United. I still think that there's going to be a time through the course of the season where they're actually playing better, and they'll be in the mix there for fourth. A couple of teams that are going to end up being, I think, a little bit more difficult to play in the back half would be Villa and Leeds as well. I just don't think Leeds is going to stay, they really had a weak run in the first half of the year, but you're starting to see them with that sort of relentless attacking style. It's starting to have some results, so that's good. What else do I think? And I do think that the bottom three fight is going to be a lot of fun to watch. There's going to be movement there. There's definitely going to be a lot to look at, and I'll stick by what I said earlier. I think Norwich finds a way to stay up.
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna call it Wolves here. I think Wolves could make a strong push for a European spot. I'm not saying top four, but I think they've signed Hwang, just quietly just got that done. I know he's been out, but he was a very tasty addition to their attacking lineup. And yeah, I think they look like, again, injuries will play a big part, but I think they're in that conversation. They're one to keep an eye on. I think, I always think, the next 4 to 6 weeks is going to be, we'll see what these teams are really made of. Yeah, Liverpool, if this transfer window, if Diaz comes in, all of a sudden my outlook is a bit more 10% more optimistic. So I think that's just one to look at. If we can just find a way to keep winning, I do smell, I get just this sixth sense of another City potential slip up, right? And then that means our game at the Etihad, you'd love to go into that game with it, it'd be nice and close. And yeah, looking at, I think, at the other half of the table, I think Leeds, look, they've had a rotten run of injuries. I think they will get better. I agree with you, Pat. I think they'll make a bounce back, but yeah, Everton and Watford are the two to watch. I think, I think Burnley are where they are. Newcastle will be a little bit better and probably be okay, but yeah, they're going to be the two teams to watch. I think Hodgson going in, what are Everton going to do? Yeah, I just don't see things getting better for Everton quickly. So I think they're one just to, fantasy managers, I wouldn't be having any stock there. I think, places that you're looking to invest, let's see what comes in at the end of the transfer window. But it's tough. I mean, Lukaku not firing, problems there. Kane is doing okay, but you're still, the striker position's been a real challenge this year, where usually you had an Aguero, you just a guy you could bank on. Kane, you just have one of those guys in there. So I think that's going to be an interesting one for the fantasy leagues, is who can ride. Hwang coming back could be a play. Does Calvert-Lewin start scoring when he's maybe match fit? I don't know. It's super tough, but I'm loading up in midfield. That's why I would say I think your bankers, your point bankers, are midfielders this year, right? Jota being a midfielder is one a lot of people have gone in on. I think he's going to continue to score. But yeah, I think that's where the value is going to be. And yeah, let's see what happens, boys. It's going to be a fun ride.
We've got our wild cards as well now. The winter wild cards out and ready. So I feel like, I don't know, I feel like there's going to be a bit of spice in the next few days. I mean, we've got a channel at work which has got all the tweets coming in from like Sky and David Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano, and I feel like that is going to be, it's going to be a race to see who can click on Diaz first, or who can click on who else, like Gameras when he comes in, because those are going to be the big transfers I think that we're going to see in the next few days.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Madison, James Madison's one I think to keep an eye on. He's been quietly hitting form, and Leicester with Vardy out, and I know Daka's come in. He's done quite well. Ian Acho's coming back now, I think, as well. So difficult to predict who'll play. I think Daka's probably done enough to cement his spot until Vardy's fit. But yeah, Madison is the one where you can bank on him playing, and he's involved creatively in a lot of the stuff they do. So he could be a play where Leicester are playing a bit better. I know they had the Spurs game, Pat, absolutely love to see that. Unbelievable stuff. For the Spurs Leicester game. But yeah, they are playing better. But yeah, let's see what happens. It's going to be an interesting, wild cards come into play here. yeah, triple captains. If you've not played it, it's just looking for that juicy week where you think, yep, need to load up here. But yeah, okay, boys. Listen, always pleasure to chat. We had some special guests today, but you can see there, Taylor was here, as per. But yeah,
it is in the background.
Yeah, for my teammates at work was a prank. So there you go. But yeah, it was to be fair, I had it coming. So but yeah, that's it. So some special guests, but let's look forward to the games ahead. I think we've got a little bit of break, no Premier League action for another week or so, or over a week actually, which sucks. But when we get back to it, hopefully we'll have some juicy games to talk about.
I think
always a pleasure.
Is it the FA Cup this weekend?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, Lee, I may need to book a little time with you, Willie, next week, maybe next Monday, just in case Diaz does go to Liverpool. Like I might need a little bit of psychiatric help or whatever. So just someone to talk to, right?
It's all right. I'll bring my James Blunt and some Lindor chocolate, and we can cry it out. It's fine.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Listen, Pat. If it happens, you see the next podcast, we'll all be on here, and then all of a sudden I'll appear behind you outside that patio door with my Diaz shirt on, going. Right, boys. Listen, yeah. Thanks everyone for listening. Always a pleasure, chaps, and yeah, take care. Cheers.
Cheers, folks.
Yep.